Evening all, welcome to Kicking Dust. Yes, more scout nonsense and also 6 days till FanFest. Woo. Hopefully getting excited about this. If you're not, why not, bro? What's up? Don't you like FanFest? What's up with you, bro? Of course you like FanFest. If you're going, then you're probably there. You're probably watching this from one of the hotels. I actually quite like the Nordea. I think it's called the Nordea. Anyway, they had the FanFest there, I think, once or maybe twice. And it was a very reasonable 4-star hotel. And it was probably one of the nicer hotels in Reykjavik. So, yeah, I quite liked it. They did a pretty mean Bloody Mary. So that's always a good marker of a hotel. In fact, let me tell you a story. Whenever I travel, because I travel for work, and I'm not particularly enjoying this. I've never liked doing it. I mean, I think some people think it's like fun and enjoyment because obviously you get hotels and etc. But it's not. It's horrible. And I always measure a hotel by how good it is, by how good 3 things they provide are. Number 1, the burger. Okay, so they provide a burger. Every hotel in the world provides a burger because, hey, lol, Americans. And they provide some form of burger, as they call it. And I can tell you now, the finest burger I've ever had was in the Hilton in Frankfurt, Germany. Couldn't tell you why. It was just because it came with, like, I think, you know, those little pots of relish and things like that. It was like a design your own burger thing, and they just bought you so many choices. There were choices, and I like choices. It was like a fitting of a suit, and you could just basically pick the prototype for a lot of it. So you didn't have any of that bollocks like mustard. You just had straight to the garnish and what you need. The second measure of a really good hotel is how good the breakfast is. So, particular things like the breakfast they do. Now, when I travel, I always generally have scrambled egg and sausages. Now, what am I telling you this for? Anyway, a good hotel will do those things very well. Now, the best, you laugh at this, the best hotel ever that I've ever been to, ever, for breakfast, ever, underline ever, was in Connecticut, in Stamford. It was a very nice hotel. I can't remember what it was, Mercure, I think. And the third one is, and you'll laugh at this one, is how comfortable the toilet is. Now, don't laugh. I can hear you laughing, bro. Don't laugh. Seriously, don't laugh. It's because when I get so drunk, it's not actually for my ass. It's actually how comfortable it is for my face when I'm being sick, and I'm being serious. So that's my measures of hotel. Anyway, what the bloody hell am I talking about? FanFest is coming, and it's going to be interesting. And I urge URGE, you all, to watch the keynotes, okay? I believe the keynotes is going to be by CCP Rouge. I think that's being commonly deployed now. If it hasn't, then, well, lol, spoilers. But I think it's going to be the most important thing you'll watch. If you're a Dust fan and you love Dust, then you need to see what the EP is saying. And I think this is going to be an interesting, I don't know, I'm curious to see myself what's going to be discussed, because I think it's going to be very, very exciting and interesting. And I think, don't expect a kind of all singing or dancing FanFest like last year, which was... And I just want to make a point here. If you watched FanFest last year, you may remember that everybody was on stage, and all of a sudden they picked up controllers and played a game through the screen, and it looked like they were winning because all their stuff was there. Bollocks! That was a video. We know it was a video, right? So don't try and fool us this time. Just if you're gonna say, just like, right, let's play the video, watch this, and look at that, and that cool. Instead of they were actually just like pretending to play. Come on, dude! It's so obvious. I'm probably going to be told now that actually they weren't, and they'd actually spent thousands of dollars setting up some kind of incredible multi-PlayStation system. But anyway, who knows? But yeah, I think FanFest is 2014 is going to be very important for the whole CCP range. And let's look at why. Because World of Darkness got cancelled, and this is a real shame for me. No troll face, serious post right here. I actually liked World of Darkness. When I was a student with kind of floppy hair and acne, I used to walk through the streets of Bradford, where I went to university, my first university, and I used to go to this pub. It was a working men's club, so we were about as welcome as a shit on the floor. But hey, we paid £3 to get in, or whatever it was, so they kind of tolerated the student scum coming in, but. We used to come up there every Monday evening. We used to sit and role play. And I don't mean like sexually, which might have been interesting and fun, because it was afraid I'm all a lot of dudes. And afraid it was a lot of dudes with bad personal hygiene issues. I think the personal freshness problem in the room was quite significant. So it wasn't pleasant at all. But the role-playing was very good. And we played World of Darkness, which was obviously a whole system based around werewolves, vampires, and mages, and then all the subsets thereof. So it was all interesting stuff, and I think, this is where I think it is a shame that a game has been cancelled, and I'm always, a little bit kind of tearful when particularly something like the World of Darkness franchise gets, kind of shut down, I guess. The franchise itself is very strong. I think the media, and I think certainly the play around it is actually very good. And I think if you never played Vampire the Masquerade, that is actually of the World of Darkness IP. So, you're talking a good game when you look at how good that game was. But Vampire the Masquerade was one of the most excellent RPGs out there. In my opinion, I think it was very good. And I think, certainly it's a shame when a game gets cancelled, but I think what really it leaves CCP to focus on is their core product, which is EVE and the sandbox that we're in. And I think this is where I think you're going to see some real, interesting stuff coming through. So I'm curious to see what EVE will have, because maybe it will have additional assets, maybe it will have additional resources, maybe it won't, but either way, it'll have privilege of focus. And when you have privilege of focus, products generally are superior. A good example of this is that, CCP trying to be generalists will always cause problems, because, you can't take one person from World of Darkness and probably put them on EVE and vice versa, whereas you probably could take one person from Dust and put them on EVE and vice versa. And the same with Valkyrie. I mean, I'm not saying it'd be a perfect fit, but at least the basics are there, the premise is there. So I think this is why it's quite an important I don't know. It's a sad decision, but I think it's also a worthy decision, because again, if they're not going to make a world-class game, don't bother making it. This is the thing. This is the issue I would say with CCP is, let's not bother making a mediocre game, because CCP's brand is that of excellence. They have done exceedingly good work with what they have, and I think Dust, even though it got mediocre reviews, has been a success to them, because it's obviously a cross-platform game. It's also, I think, a move away from a genre that they were very familiar with, which is multiplayer online games in an RPG kind of space style universe. Whereas what they have done with Dust is a first person shooter, which, let's face it, is one of the most hardest kind of genres to break into. So I think you have to kind of give them acclaim and applaud for doing it, because that probably took quite a lot of balls to do, particularly when you look at kind of the premise behind it, because it's not a Battlefield, it's not a Call of Duty where KD is everything and it doesn't matter how many times you die, blah blah. They have made the EVE USPs, unique selling points, and brought it into this game, which is the market, ISK, money, reward, other than just KD. And I think this has been an exceptional boon to them. Okay, so I'm curious to see where this goes. Valkyrie is the same. It's using the same IP, the same the same kind of premise, USPs, but also drawing that into what is quite an exciting and interesting new bit of technology and a new game style. So flight sims and flight simulators, etc. And I think that's going to be very interesting to see how that all pans out, because I think that is going to be quite a big step forward if they can make that work. Obviously, with Facebook buying Oculus Rift, maybe that means they divert away from that technology, because lol, Facebook. But maybe they won't. Maybe they'll stick with it. Maybe Mark Zuckerberg is not devil incarnate, and he's going to make something interesting out of it. Who knows? But I think either way, it's going to be pretty cool. So there we go. A victory. Look at that. I didn't even talk about the match. Yeah, it was a fun match. It went well. And I think this is a kind of snippet, if you like. And this is, the match isn't that important. I really would like to stress the FanFest is only 6 days away, and I think if you're not going, then I would highly urge you to clear your diary and make sure you watch the pieces to do with Dust. I think it's going to be important. Even if you're not a Dust player currently, I would strongly urge you to watch it, because I think you're going to see commitment, you're going to see evolution, and you're going to see something quite cool come through. I don't know what's going to be shown, but I'm really excited, and I think I'm curious, if you like. I'm completely curious to see what is coming. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.